Hey, everybody, and welcome back to Android App Addicts, episode 515. This is the show where we talk about Android apps, Android hardware, whatever else happens to cross our mind. I am Mark, very rarely known as the Sultan of the Soapbox, Cockrell. And joining me are the people you're really here to hear from, the DoorToDoorGeek, Mr. Steve McLaughlin, and Eric, the manager, Ardini. Hello, gentlemen.
Hello, Mark. Oh, it feels so good to be home, man. It's been a long time.
I know the feeling.
Been too long.
Yeah, I missed 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago was my middle child's 14th birthday, and for some reason she thought that we should celebrate that. Pretty selfish, I thought. And then last week I was taking a little mini family vacation. My kids started school 2 days ago, Wednesday this week, and so or Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday. Started school yesterday, and so. We wanted to get out of town a little bit before we could. Made a quick run up to Nashville, Tennessee, so that's why I wasn't here this week. Last week, I missed you guys. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, my daughter starts Monday. She got exactly 1 week. She took classes for college over the summer, and she got 1 week off this summer. So she's psyched, I guess. I don't know.
I cannot wait for school to start back up. Is all I'm going to say.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's all the same to me. They don't really. I don't see them much. At their age, I don't see them much when they're on summer break. It's more people fighting for the bathroom in the morning than summer. So that I kind of don't like it that they go back to school. I like having my time for my me time in the bathroom with candles.
With mine, I think it's something like the Fortnite network traffic is at an all-time low at like 3 a.m. Every kid I know of was trying to stay up till like 3 in the morning. And
wow.
I don't play that.
So Fortnite's big in your house right now?
Not in my house, but in my nephews. Yeah, my two nephews. That's one of the big ones that they won't shut up about.
It's huge. It's a good game. It's fun.
Mm-hmm. It's free on the Switch, I believe. Yeah.
It's free on everything, unless you want to. I mean, they're still making millions of dollars a day for the free game, but
so add in-game purchases, I assume.
I believe it's mostly cosmetic type stuff. It's not a pay-to-win type structure, and they are making over $1 million a day.
Yeah, it's all like outfits and stuff like that. Nothing. Everybody starts back at zero, other than your outfit at the beginning of the game, and 20 minutes later, somebody wins, or maybe an hour later, depends on who's in there.
Yeah, I've never played it. No idea what it is. Heard about it. Big among middle schoolers.
And high schoolers.
I'll just say that you're not missing much, Mark. I'm pretty sure in no time flat, nobody's going to be talking about the game. It's just a question of when. 5 minutes, 10 minutes. Yeah.
And at $1 million a day, if that only lasts 2 months, I think they're okay with that. I think they're fine with that coming to an end and having made $60 million.
Yeah, probably.
So any new gear, new gadgets, new stuff, back to school stuff? I spent roughly $6 billion on a graphing calculator because my kid in high school. I have 2 in high school now, but that's nothing to talk about on this show. Anybody have anything cool to talk about?
Isn't there an app that would do everything that any
Absolutely, except they're not allowed to use their phones.
Oh, true.
Yeah,
I got you.
Absolutely, they could use, and I have it, and they have it on their tablets and on their phones. They just can't use it. So instead, I had to go buy a really expensive calculator to do the same thing that the free app would do, because they can't use the other really expensive device that I already purchased them. I've
got this hardware came in the mail. This is the 2017 version of the Daydream by Google. It comes with a remote control that slides in the back. That's like a touch-sensitive touchpad on the top that's clicky for selecting things, and then 2 other buttons for the joystick for different applications. It's got built-in some kind of thing that cools your phone off. That was always an issue with VR. It's got a pad here and cooling vents here to keep your phone from overheating. the opticals in it are much bigger and give you a wider field of view, I guess.
How much did you pay for that?
It was half off. I paid $50 for it.
$50 for swim goggles, basically.
Well, there's some pretty fancy lenses in here. They you know how Coke bottles have concentric rings on the bottom, like the old Coke bottle? These lenses are like that for some reason. There's actual lines all the way around them, but you don't see it when you're wearing them. Like some really old man's glasses from the 30s or something.
I'm
Crazy
sure it's
stuff.
cool. I just I don't have any experience with it. I've never even used like cardboard, so
Oh, nothing ever?
not once.
Oh, I think you might like it, Mark. You might.
I don't have
Is it-
time in my life for anything new that I like, so I'm just not experimenting with things because I could be in real trouble.
Yeah, I can't get into anything that much, so I'm safe. I mean, there's no physical addiction associated with it. I should be all right. I mean, if
I have some sticks of wood on my bench down in my basement that have been waiting to be cut for like 5 months, and I haven't had time, or I haven't taken the time to go down there and do it. I'm trying to spend time with my guitar every day. I'm trying to spend time with my kids every day. I don't have time for daydream. I don't have it.
Are you going to cut those pieces of wood into a shape, or just cut them until they're small enough that they're not pieces anymore? They're like dust.
I'm building a table for a coworker.
Oh, you told us about that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's how long it's been. Yeah, I still haven't done it. I've got the tops done. I don't have the legs finished, and I haven't had. It's not fair to say I haven't had the time. I've had the time. I've just chosen to spend other things with it.
A table's a major project, though. That's not a dabbling your toe into some sort of thing. That's major. The daydream, you can dabble your toes in that pretty easily and be satisfied. How about you, Door? You got any new hardware?
You've been very silent.
No new hardware to speak of. I will say the Honor 8 is definitely showing age. Just the corners, and from the number of times I've dropped it, it's all marked up. So I'm at least thinking about another device, and there's no greater luxury in this modern era that I enjoy than slowly looking at phones, devices, finding things that are happening, and then patiently waiting and paying the right price for a phone. My last two phones, when I've bought them, they were that price or still more expensive, like 8 months later, 9 months later. So I feel like I've been buying at really opportune times. So that's what I'm starting to do now. Probably, I'm going to guess before February, I'll have a different device, but I'm not going to rush into this.
That's good. It's only slightly related. You sent me an email earlier today asking about the fitness tracker that my children use. And it's as a reminder, it's the Xiaomi Mi Band. They have the Mi Band 2. The 3 just came out. And ironically, I had just purchased a second one very recently for my other daughter who's interested in them. And at $25, I'm happy to buy them for them, and still rocking the one that's I think 2 years old now. I mean, it's beat up because it's been on the hand of a teenager for 2 years, but it's a solid device. So just a little unsolicited shout out for the Xiaomi Mi Band. It's a great device for, really budget conscious fitness trackers.
Yeah, I asked because a buddy sent me a link to a Huawei Honor Band 3. And the one selling feature he told me about it, which I actually found at least interesting, is a 30-day charge on it. And I believe the Show Me one has at least a 20-day charge.
Yeah, a week or so is about what it. I mean, if you turn all the stuff off, it might last 20 days, but on average, it lasts about a week.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's one of the things that I like. I like the idea of not having to charge something each and every day. It's a bit much, so I definitely like the idea of them. I don't know if I want to do any heart rate tracking or sleep monitoring. I know I sleep like crap, so I don't know, but I like the ideas of these.
Yeah. All right. I guess it's time for some apps. We got nothing else to talk about. Eric, let's start with you tonight.
Okay. I'm going to bring a couple of VR apps tonight because with the new device, and yes, everybody in the chat room, It is the coral color. Those people, yeah,
That's
that,
a euphemism for pink.
yeah, it's pink. It's they call it coral. Yeah, that was the 50% off one. I was gonna pay $100 for this device, but I really wanted to see if what it did. It's not like I'm taking it out in public. It can't really. It's not a augmented reality thing in any way, so I can't walk around with it on my face anyway. So just
So
me in a little
there's not a-
room.
There's not a port for the rear camera on the
There's
back.
not. It's totally solid.
Hmm.
Yeah, it's kind of strange. I'm surprised about that too, but I don't know.
You
They
said
must
you just
have-
got it. Have you used it yet?
Yeah. Then I'm bringing a couple apps that I've used probably a dozen apps on it now. I'm bringing you two that I really really liked. So
Fire away.
the first one is called, and this is not a free one. I don't know how much it cost me, but it is called Dr. Splorchy. Dr. Splorchy presents Space Heroes, and this kind of shows me a little more about what where the VR can go. This is an animated cartoonish game that was actually made by the creators of what's the famous cartoon that's out right now?
Morty.
Yeah, Rick and Morty.
Mature
Rick and Morty.
17 plus. That's why I said that.
It's a very funny game, and it's the voice actor, and it must be the creator who does the voices, because it's you can definitely tell the same voice as Rick and Morty's on here. It's a funny game. It's a first person shooter and a puzzle game both, and I'm working my way through it. It's a good time, and it's not really repetitive with the jokes. It's got some depth to it, so you're not too bored, or seeing the same thing all the time. But it is waves and waves of enemies coming at you. You got to shoot them, and that's one thing with this new controller. It tracks that so well. It works really good for first person shooter games when you got to actually look around and shoot things. And then to reload, you like lift up the joystick and pull it back down. You have to dodge over to the sides, to get away from their bullets physically with your body or head at least, to dodge bullets coming at you. It's fun.
It's $4.99.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. I actually listened to his podcast. Sorry if the name is offensive to anyone. The podcast is called Whiting Wongs, and it's him and a lead producer, I believe lead producer in his other show, and they just talk about stuff, controversial stuff, ethnicity in America, being a writer, blah blah blah. I never heard of this. I'm shocked.
They never talked about it, huh?
Not that I can recall, not that I remember, and I'm shocked. A couple other guys haven't said anything to me. The ones that won't stop telling me how much I have to watch the cartoon that I don't watch.
It has only 100 plus installs, so not many people have ever heard of it.
I did watch Pickle Rick on the way back from my during my last flight, and was that it must have been with you coming back from Daytona, I think. It was like it was when I came back from Norfolk. I watched Pickle Rick. That episode seems to be epic, and I tell you what, that's the first Rick and Morty episode I ever watched, and the only one I have still watched. But it was very funny, I have to say. So that's about it for that one, I guess. I don't know if I haven't watched the video and it does have a video, so maybe it's not that good. But I don't know if that really describes it. It's just kind of funny.
How's the immersiveness of it?
Very good. Yeah. And this is probably, as far as games go, this has been my best example that I've used. Now and that's one thing too, in the Play Store, premium games are premium price in the VR world. There's not a lot of freebies that are good. There's a lot of $10 games with good ratings.
So I don't see anything in this game explicitly saying this was a VR compatible game. So does it? I don't see it in the description category or really much saying that. So how am I supposed to know just by browsing that's what this is. Is it just me?
I had I got a ping like I have a Google alert for VR new apps that come out, and that's how I found out that they were releasing this. And I think I bought it. Yeah, I bought it on. I don't know when I bought it, but I think it is only VR.
It's an excellent point, Dora. It doesn't say that anywhere on here. It does say incompatible with all of my devices, so maybe that's why only 100 people have reviewed it or downloaded it. It's just for the Pixel users.
It's possible. There are a couple more phones available through Google that do have the VR engine or whatever they use for the Pixels. So I think there's a half a dozen phones that are compatible with this Daydream now. Yeah, I'm surprised it doesn't have like I thought they didn't have like some kind of an icon or something that had like a headset that you could see you easily identify that. Maybe not.
Well, sometimes down in the bottom of the page, they would say like gamepad compatible, stuff like that. But I don't see any definite thing. I mean, I have the same thing. I can't install this on anything I own, which is my only indication that this is not just a normal game.
Yeah, and I searched for it in the regular Google Play Store to bring it to the show just now too. It's not like I went to Google Play /VR or anything like that.
Well, go ahead and keep the ball rolling with VR. And you said you had 2. Go ahead and bring us.
Okay. This is the classic VR game or app. Epic Roller Coasters, and this is Epic Roller Coasters by B4T Games. So the first thing I think I ever did with a cardboard was a VR roller coaster, and YouTube is just full of VR roller coaster videos. And this one, I really liked it because it's funny that the first, and this is, you got to buy other roller coasters, but the first free one, I think there's 2 free roller coasters. The first one is called Rock Falls, and that's where I live. So I was kind of tickled by that they would call the VR roller coaster Rock Falls. So I still haven't shown the mayor yet. I think he'd like that. But this one, you get a choice of different weird carts that you can go on, and there's sensations you really feel in your stomach when things are working smoothly and it's well produced. There are they always go over the top of too, because they'll have like boulders coming at you, which are unnecessary. They'll have parts where the tracks go away and you're flying and jump and land on other tracks. That's unnecessary. This also does have a gaming bit to it, where you kind of control you can, if you want to, you can take the not just to be a roller coaster, but you actually can have control of like the handbrake, and you have to figure out when you should be slowing down and letting the brake off, and try to stay on the track as long as you can too. That's a little fun addition that I hadn't played with before.
So how much interaction is it? I mean, obviously it's on rails, literally. Is it just a look left, look right thing?
Yeah, I mean, it's like basically on the regular part, you're just riding a roller coaster. You're looking around, but you feel your stomach drop out from under you when you take a big drop. Like your mind does that to you,
right?
But then the other part is the interaction would be the other part of the game where you actually have control of your car in a bit, somewhat, which is kind of neat too. But I was not good at it. It's difficult. But I'm not good at any game, so.
One of the places we visited on vacation last week was the planetarium in Nashville, a huge dome screen. And it is pretty amazing how when your entire field of vision is full, your brain fills in the rest of the missing elements. So as you're flying around in the thing, your brain says, oh, we should feel like we're moving, so let's go ahead and activate those neurons. And so you do.
The amount of content on YouTube in VR now is huge. There's all kinds of people, I guess they just have these 360 cameras mounted to their head doing every kind of athletic X Games type sports, water sports, biking. There's a lot of that. I'm gonna have to look for a planetarium app though. That sounds really fun because I remember that feeling. And for me and my homies, we pronounce it planetarium. You don't pronounce the T there, but that I will want to try that out. I'm gonna look for one of those. It's a good idea.
Yeah. What I will say about this Epic Roller Coasters by B4T Games is they go from crazy place to crazy place. The settings and surroundings are what make this game. It looks like everything from a apocalypse in a city to a jungle to mountaintops to space-like environments. So that's cool.
Yeah, don't forget the dinosaurs.
And sorry, dinosaurs. Can't forget dinosaurs. And yeah, these are like the cliche game to have on a headset, but at the same token, they've been done so frequently, they should have a pretty good idea of how to do them right, is my logic.
Yeah. And it's come a long way since the very first cardboard. I was blown away by the first cardboard. So and this is my kind of thing. I've always been the kind of guy who would buy a program or an app or a game just to see the graphics and then never really get into the game. That's been my whole kind of experience with that. I've always been a graphics kind of guy. The two you get free, you do get that dinosaur coaster for free and the Rock Falls one. Those are the two you start with.
Very cool.
The Oasis is just a few years away.
Yeah, I know. And then I asked my son if he'd be interested. And he goes, "Well, if it's like that movie, then I'll try it, Dad." He had no interest in this at all. Netflix, has their own app on there, and so does Google Play Movies and or whatever it is. And basically, what those do is you could be sitting in a closet or anywhere, and it turns it into like a 50-foot screen. You can look around. You've got like a virtual living room around you, and it just kind of throws a theater ambiance to a Netflix film, stuff like that. As far as content, I don't remember if I saw actually any 360 content. It was just the normal content played on a big screen.
If I remember correctly, on the Plex app, you can have people with you in your living room and watch the same movie.
Oh, look at like everybody has their own avatar sitting on the virtual couch together. Yeah. There's a social media VTime, and I've tried. I think I tried with the cardboard, and I even tried with this, and for some reason I cannot make that social media thing work. I believe it gets a lot of reviews, so I'm gonna work harder to see if I can check out what that's all about too.
All right, Dor, what have you got for us tonight?
Well, what I got is, what a surprise. It's going to scratch that nostalgia retro look. The name to me makes absolutely no sense whatsoever. It's called Wizards 2 Better Dead Than Red. That's the whole name of it. Wizards 2 Better Dead Than Red. $3.99. E for Everyone by Tesseract Mobile LLC. Action game is the way that it's called. No reviews. It must have just literally came off of it. It's updated June 26th, 2018, 64 megs in size, version 1.1.2, 10 plus installs is what I'm going to say. I did literally just see this an hour or so before I came downstairs, and just the look of it alone made me have to bring this. And Eric, I will say, this looks like it might have VR type, daydream type usage in it.
Yeah, it does look like it.
Yeah, so that's the real reason that as soon as I saw it, I said to self, I have to bring this. because I'm pretty sure this is also not compatible with most of my devices, if not all of them.
Yeah, just watching the video, it's very VR looking. Like,
Well, it says it's the initial release for Daydream, so it's
perfect. Okay,
what it's for.
it looks like you're a Mac, maybe, or a fighter, or both.
You're some kind of like mechanized tank, is what I'll say, but it does look like in future levels, possibly you get different types of vehicles.
Mech Warrior, Mech Warrior was one of my favorites back in the day.
Yeah, this to me just was Tron enough looking to catch my eye, is the way that I'll classify the look of the game. $3.99. This is going to stay on my wish list. I'm going to keep an eye on it, and I if it goes on sale one day, I might buy it for like a buck something and give it a shot, because I still have cardboard. Sometimes I've been able to side load non-compatible things and they work fine.
Cool. Yeah, I'm going to add it to my wish list too and check it out. I'm trying to figure out the better dead than red. Maybe it's like a red versus blue.
The enemies are red and you're blue in the video. So
yeah,
better dead than red, which is what people used to say about the Soviet Empire.
I was wondering. I knew there was a historic reference. I could not remember what it was.
It's retro in more ways than one. See, what makes me, what I find interesting about this is that the original like tank game, combat games, that sort of stuff, use that vector graphic drawing because that's the best they could do. Mm-hmm. And now we've created a 3D immersive experience using the vector drawing. So we're using massive computing power to replicate something that was done because they didn't have the computing power to do better.
Now, once you got the vectors like this laid out, can you not just lay down GIFs or textures on top of that and make it a beautiful landscape? So with this, the initial release, maybe they're going to get their physics and their fighting down and then turn it into something different.
I mean, this is like having a CD and adding a track of record player pop to it.
Wouldn't that be cool if like the inner ring of every CD could be like one LP single in there, so you could use it in both devices?
Well, I didn't mean like record players. Pop is in pop music, but the static and the pop of a record player. So you're using super advanced technology and replicating something that only was the way it was because they didn't have the advanced technology.
Yeah, like people put filters over videos to make them look like they came off of VHS. Right. Yeah.
What was that? It's not even a thing anymore. But that service that crapified every video you put up, Instagram, right? That was it. Was it Instagram?
I'm pretty sure it's still around.
No, but they don't. The filters aren't as big a thing. I mean, originally it was like that's the only reason you used that. Was it Instagram or there was some app that it was specifically to crapify photos, and that's the only reason anybody ever used it.
Yeah, there's a lot of those.
Yeah. Now Instagram has become a whole different thing, but at the time it was just ruining perfectly good photos. All right, that's enough of my curmudgeonry. Did you read the email from Adam recently, guys, from July 7?
I want to say no.
Okay, then I shall. It says, hi, guys. On a not too distant episode, Door called Stranger Things one of the best mobile games he had ever played. Well, I found another game deserving of such high praise, the Battle of Polytopia. The best way I can describe this game is to say that it is by far the best attempt at making a mobile touchscreen version of classic PC game Civilization by Sid Meier. It's a turn-based world-building strategy game. I believe that despite its polished appearance, the game was developed and is updated by a single independent developer in Sweden. The game is free, but you can purchase extra tribes to support the developer if you wish. I did. Best wishes, Adam, Over the Pond Geek.
You know, I did read that and I checked this game out. We didn't bring this to the show door.
Yeah, I brought it on 479.
Okay.
And I want to say it was Guy in the Tub who actually showed me this game, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I want to say. Really good game, really well thought out, really good pace of gameplay is the only way I can describe this game. It's a local habitat discovery, utilize environments, advance technologies like civilization. You can advance your tech. Different tribes make for different abilities. Different abilities make for different events, different happenings. The land is always randomly generated. This is definitely a fun game, fun for me, and even my youngest, who is basically 10. He's 9 or 10. 10. He's 10. Thought the game was fun too, and I'm surprised he got it. Is what I'll say, but he got it, and he was playing it, and it's in portrait mode, which is always a plus to me.
Yeah, that is nice.
Another example, however, of retro 8-bit style look.
Yeah, this is a weird graphic style. It's definitely harkening back to 16 or 32-bit, but there's something going on, is what I'll say, that makes it look different. Good animations too, even though they're very small animations.
Looks like fun. I'll give it a try, Adam. Okay, Eric, your turn.
All right. I'm gonna bring a game, and it is called "It's Full of Sparks." I believe maybe Ivor suggested this. It's in Noodle Quake Studios. Now, I didn't read the article. Did you guys read the article that was shared to us about how Noodle Cake became who and what they are?
And I bookmarked it, but I haven't read it.
Okay, maybe we'll talk about it after we read it. I do want to read it. I just have not yet either.
Yeah, I did see it, but I didn't see it.
This game is similar to Monument Valley, I would say, mostly. It's a puzzle game like that, and it's cute and neat. And I don't know. I wasn't very good at it. But if you're into that kind of Monument Valley and you like good looking games, give it a try. It's not just that kind of puzzle. There's a little bunch of little things you got to do. I think if I remember right, I had somebody following me, or like a little friend or something at some point. It's been a couple since I played it. Oh, okay, that's what it was. You're a firecracker, and you got to jump into the water, before your fuse goes all the way down. And you go kaboom. And there's a lot of things that also try to run into you, and just the pressure of getting smashed by something will blow you up. Also, basically, you can't get hit by stuff. It's for all the little firecrackers out there installed on their device. I don't remember if this one was free or not. Might have been.
It looks like free, yes.
Yeah, it's a free game. I don't get it. I mean, I like Noodle Cake, almost all of their stuff, so I have faith that I might get it, but I don't get it.
Do you like Monument Valley?
I don't know what that is. I've heard you talk about it. That's all.
It's a puzzle game. It's a puzzle game in this weird kind of art. Basically, Monument Valley is like MC Escher puzzles that you have to work your way through.
In their little video there, the guy is never successful. It doesn't inspire me to want to play this game if you can't win it.
Oh yeah, I haven't watched it. Maybe they took a video of me playing it. I haven't watched it yet. I wasn't successful that well.
I don't like it can't be won.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it can. I mean, but the thing is, you're gonna. I ended up getting killed like 3 times on each level before I figured out. Oh, I needed to do that before this to do that to get there.
And maybe that they showed you succeed, it would ruin the game for you because you know how to work the level.
True. Yeah.
No, I would think you'd still have to pull it off. And me too, Mark. I'm not a fan of anger-based games, aggravation games, because they're so difficult. This looks like it might be a little bit difficult, but because it's noodle cake, there's a certain, I don't want to say quality to it, but it's not going to like crash your phone, is what I can say. It's going to be a well-built application. Um, but yeah, I'm not a fan of r- repetitive, near nonstop death. And that's what this looks like. It looks like a whole lot of death. Like for each 20 times you die, you might get past a level.
Oh yeah, it's gonna. In the limited time I played it, it probably took me 3 to 5 deaths before I got through a level to figure it all out.
All right, I can live with that. I just don't like the endless runners that is literally running endlessly. I get bored with those in about 3 minutes.
Yeah, well, I mean, because there's not another level, too. I mean, once you get past, you feel the enjoyment of succeeding because you never have to go back to that one again on this, like on a game like this, where the endless runners, you start all the way back at the beginning, and it's boring about every time.
There was that one that I think Dor brought a while back. It was like ninja papercraft thing, where you were running and you had to jump and fall thousands of feet. And I played that one for longer than most just because it was so beautiful. But in the end, it was like, oh yeah, this is an endless runner. I hate those, and I uninstalled it. All right, Dor, back to you, my friend.
Okay, what I'm going to bring now is a note app, but I will still say I'm using Standard Notes as my default go-to note application because it is as secure of a note-taking app as I can possibly find. And it's easy, and it's not glorious, it's just notes, text fields, ASCII characters, if you will. Um, this though is a alternative note-taking app. It's called Notes by Firefox, literally by Mozilla, and it is trying to be a secure note-taking app, end to end in encrypted, and you can sync across devices. If you like the idea of having at least more control than your average note-taking app, Mozilla, I think, is trying to do good things. So I support the company, and this seems like a decent app. I'm going to probably install it on a couple devices and just see how it works, see how good it works. But Standard Notes for now is my go-to app, and I do pay for the subscription to Standard Notes. I want to say it's like $6 a year. It's super cheap.
I should. Every day I keep worrying more and more about my dependence on Google. Were we talking about addiction earlier? Yeah. So Google, yeah, I'm kind of addicted. And it worries. I don't know why it worries me, but I just more and more every day. And I think I've said this on the show before. If it weren't for this show, I wouldn't have this phone, and I wouldn't have a lot of the things I do with in the Google verse. And I use Keep all the time, and I use Google Photos all the time, and I need to start, Nextcloud and other ways around all this craziness, because it's not just I don't know. I shouldn't be paranoid, but if something smells funny, maybe something's funny. I don't know.
I just had that same thought just today. First day of school, my elementary kid had a project where they had to bring some photos of her as a baby and as a toddler, and do a get to know you collage thing. And so just instinctively, I went to Google Photos, where I've got hundreds of photos going back to I think 2005. And I had that same thought. It's like, if Google decides to take this away from me, and there's no reason they wouldn't. Right. They get really no value out of storing my stuff there. I could just wake up tomorrow and it's gone. All of these photos are gone because I don't have them anywhere else. I'm just trusting Google.
And I pay for it. I buy extra storage because I've got a lot there. My family's entire life is there. And it grows, and it grows, megabytes at least every week, or gigabytes maybe. I don't know. It's a lot. It backs up with the Pixel. It backs up in full quality, full resolution. When you're a member of Project Fi and you got a Pixel 2, there's no compression, no smaller file size. It's a lot. And I'm taking pictures of every model number I'm going to go to the store to buy a part for, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
Is a lot of information.
Between Google Photos and like you, Google Keep is my standard note-taking app. All so much of my work-based stuff is on there. So much of my, I don't keep passwords there. That's what LastPass is for. But so important things that I keep them there because I want to keep them. Hence the name Google Keep. And it's the same thing. It's too many eggs in one basket. But it's a really nice basket.
It is. I love it. I love it. I just every now and then I just get these weird feelings that I don't. They say they're going to do no evil, so I have to trust them because nobody would say that and not do it. But I don't know. There's and I can't put my finger on it. I could be maybe it's just paranoia from eating too much aspartame. I don't know, but there's something is getting me.
Well, realistically, companies are making money off of our data, whether it be our email data or our picture analytical data or the actual data from the pictures themselves. Companies are making money off us. It's only a matter of time before we see some kind of benefit to using services besides just free service. There's been many studies showing that the average Facebook user is making the company, I can't remember, $28 a month or something like that. And why aren't those users getting some of that money back is what people are starting to say. In the last week, there's been another privacy related Google centric thing that came out of the Data Liberation Foundation. It used to be called, but now they're starting up a new project in Google called the Data Transfer Project, DTP. And a bunch of journalists were going off in the last week about how this is a good thing, how Google's going to make it easier for you to get the data out of these systems. Partially, it's because of GDPR, whatever, regulations. But here's what I see. When I look at this, I don't see an easy way for me to get my information out of this service. I see an easier mechanism for these companies to exchange my information between each other, because this is an open source project being manned by Google, Facebook, Microsoft, Twitter, companies, literally those four companies and more companies like that. So it's going to make it easier for them to exchange my data among their services. That's the way I see this ending up, not as a better thing for end user rights or the ability to get my information out of a service. Because you've got to remember, it's not getting my information out of the service. It's giving me a copy of the information out of the service. My data is going to exist there until the end of time, unless something drastic happens.
And I've already seen that with Amazon. I'm still paying Amazon yearly because I cannot get my stuff out of there in a reasonable fashion. I can't easily download all of my Amazon photos and stuff I have on their server and make any sense of it. But I don't want to be without it at some point. I don't know. Maybe I should just let it go and say, hey, I messed up. I shouldn't have put my trust in that service. I don't know.
So Highlander in the chat room says that he mirrors his stuff to Dropbox and Google Drive, and then also OneDrive. Ivor says he uses OneDrive. That's spreading your eggs among many baskets, but it's still not a basket you own. I do the same thing. Every photo I take is automatically uploaded to both Dropbox and Google Photos. And so I have two services there that I'm a customer of, and they're storing my stuff. But at the same time, it's not my stuff. And maybe I just got to get over that. Maybe that's an ethos of just the old graybeard in me that says if you don't own it, you can't. It doesn't exist. And I think the world is, for the next 20, 30 years, is going to be moving at an increasing rate away from owning your own stuff. Everything will be hosted somewhere else. And maybe I just need to be okay with that. But yeah, there's always this nagging sort of feeling of, I think maybe this isn't the right thing to do.
And there's people who speak of this being a lost time, where every at least Americans since the 1930s have photographic evidence of their existence on the planet, and a lot of people can go to a trunk and see pictures of old relatives, and we don't do that. We're not filling trunks full of photographs nearly as much. I mean, we might get the school photos and an occasional family portrait, but there's not a picture of Uncle Bob and Jim next to that car that they used to own. Just random, snapshots of just fun times or whatever, or get together. We don't do that. We do that. We take tons of pictures, more than we ever have. But if the internet goes down for, somebody cuts the cord, which is impossible, I know, but if there were to be like I don't even know if EMT blasts do stuff like this, but that stuff's gone. We don't have it. If you don't have it backed up on your own hard drive somewhere, which I know I probably don't, it's gone. And that there's so then 2 generations from now, there'll be this gap where those guys were the ones who trusted this internet thing, and so that's the lost generation.
Maybe that's what really happened with the Mayans. It's not that they
had the internet.
Yeah, they had technology before we did, and then they lost it.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'll just say, when it comes to owning your stuff, it's all to me. It's like pizza. You can order an entire pizza, come to your door hot, ready to eat. Or you can go to the store, buy the crust, bring it home, make sauce from scratch and toppings, or a million different variations of how you can consume pizza, create pizza, digest pizza. Same thing about your data. If you have even like a DigitalOcean droplet that I buy, that I'm storing all my stuff on, that is accessible from anywhere that I am at, I don't own that server. It's a DigitalOcean droplet. Then if I take an OwnCloud or Nextcloud or some local hosted solution, if I route it through noip.org or something, well, I don't own the complete chain from beginning to end. And then even if I say, okay, well, let me buy the domain, let me go someplace else, and then I'm going to need to redirect it someplace. So there's always going to be something in that chain that you cannot completely own outright unless you invest a lot of money, is what I'm going to say. There's different levels. There's no absolute right or wrong way to do it. I literally try to go out of my way to classify all my data, including pictures, on what is the level of priority on it. For the stuff I don't really worry about, care about, Google Photos syncs that up. That's non-critical infrastructure as far as I put it. Only very specific pictures that I take that I really do, like, I purposely put in multiple places, clone across multiple servers, multiple services. My thing being, one of them's going to have to survive. Now, I'm not taking it to the extreme and using the service where you can send them a picture, they engrave it on glass and send it back to you. I'm not going that far, because that will definitely last for years. But I'm trying to do at least something to save some pictures.
And when you're looking at 100-year-old pictures, it wasn't the ones that they liked that we like now. It was the goofy, weird ones, that showed something that was odd. And 100 years from now, those are the ones that they're gonna want to see of us. I'm just saying, everybody go buy a bubble jet Canon printer, and I think invest in printer stock, because at some point coming up, somebody's gonna say, you guys got to get printing and print fast, because it's coming. And those who invest in printer ink, man, I'm telling you, tip of the day.
The archaeologists of 500 years from now are going to have a much harder time, because they're just going to find all these black boxes with metal prongs on them, and they won't know what to do with them.
I've got all of my stuff backed up on DVD. How many DVD drives do I even have anymore? That came quick and left quick. You know what I mean? I thought for sure, CDs. Okay, yeah, they were pretty good. Way better than this floppy. DVDs, gigs on one thing. Oh, that's that. Okay, we're done. We don't have to worry about it no more. Yeah. But so now I've got a portable DVD drive that I plug into a USB port, and that's my only way to get things in and out of a DVD now.
Mm-hmm.
So odd. So that came and went too fast. And maybe that's what sparked a little bit of it too, because after that's gone, then you're just bare hard drives, and I don't know.
Yeah, David Pogue, when he was writing for the New York Times, coined the term data movage. We don't need to worry about data storage. We need to worry about data movage, because we have to move it from format to format every few years if we want to keep it.
What format do you go from DVD to, other than a bare drive?
That's flash drive, hard drive. That's that's all you got right now.
And we had that then too, but
but one of the differences now, they have micro SD cards that are 2 terabyte.
Yeah, much faster, much more stable.
Yeah. The next generation micro SD card is starting to get a little bit more traction. I can never remember what it's called, but it is going to offer the availability to go even 20 times faster than current fastest standards. So, the constant evolution of data storage is constant.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to take us down that rabbit hole, but
we needed to have that talk, Mark. Thank you, though. I know we did.
Move your people, move your data, people. Move it from place to place. Make sure, was it Highlander? Yeah. The 3-2-1. Have 3 copies, 1 local and 2 offsite. That's the best way to do it. And we're all nerds, right? I could set up an ODCloud instance here and send Door a hard drive, and he could send me a hard drive, and we could back up each other's data. We could do that. We know how to do that. But have I ever done that? No. Would I ever do that? Probably not. It's something I would talk about, but never do.
It'd be smart to do. And Robot brings up a good point too. I mean, how am I supposed to see what's on my hard drive when all I have is a phone? Good point.
Yeah, we have because I am still a power nerd. I have many computers, but the rest of the family shares a laptop for the few times that a tablet and a phone won't do. And it's unused most of the time. A couple of times a month it gets pulled out and used, but pretty much phones and tablets, that's the primary computing platform for the world.
Yeah, I use a laptop to run my 3D printer. That's about the only thing I use it for.
I'm glad you brought that up. One of the places I went to in Nashville last week was they have a science museum there for kids, and they had this 3D printing room there. And I got to tell you, I have been bitten hard by the 3D printing bug.
Nice.
And so, Door, I may be coming knocking looking for advice, because it's just so ridiculously cool. It's like the I can't come up with an example.
The drone.
Yeah, there you go. The thing that is super cool, but also utterly useless in the end.
Yes,
yeah, it's the
it's I know. I do find use cases, but dang, the software to make something is so difficult for me to be a creator. It takes so much time to learn. I just can't. I mean, there's a couple programs that are super simple, but they make super simple product. The stuff I really want to get into, I need a class for like a year or two to figure this stuff out. But I need time, and then when I get the knowledge, I want to use it before I forget it again.
But there's going to be a huge market for 3D printed straws in California very soon.
True.
Yeah.
Good point.
I did see a picture of a Starbucks in California where they were selling paper straws that were wrapped in plastic. Each one was individually wrapped. Isn't that kind of self-defeating?
Oh man, that's great.
Genius. Look, realistically, I should ask you like 20 questions leading up to what kind of printer you should buy, Mark. But here's the real gimmick. All you got to remember is one word: Prusa. If you can afford a Prusa, always buy a Prusa, just because it's the perfect. I don't want to touch it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to worry about it. Oh, I'll print something. And when it's done, it's done. You don't have to worry or stress over it. Every other printer comes with a certain amount of inalienable tinkering and upkeep and maintenance and PM preventative maintenance up on it, where a Prusa literally just runs, and it runs perfect. You can literally punch it, the power can go out, whatever, and it will still just print exactly. It won't even skip a beat. It will just work. They're not cheap. But yes, I just missed the East Coast Rip Rap Festival 2 weekends ago. It was 10 miles from my house. I completely forgot about it till it was like halfway done. And then I said, well, I guess I'm not going this year.
Rip Rap is a 3D printing festival.
I believe that was the original.
Oh, Rep
engine.
Rap. Rep
Yeah,
Rap. Okay, I
you
got
know
it.
what I meant. Yeah, yeah.
To me, Rip Rap is large stones you lay beside a river. That's my reference for Rip Rap.
Okay, good to know.
All right. So the original Prusa i3 MK3 kit. So kit means I assemble it myself.
Yep.
Is $750.
Yep.
That's not terrible.
Or you buy it already built. It comes in a box. You just open the box, slide it out for, I want to say, almost 300 more.
It's half the price of a DJI Phantom to compare it to the drones. You know, the thing
which you can also punch while it's running, and it'll restore itself and right itself.
Nice.
Yeah, but I would say the Prusa is literally a work of art, a thing of beauty. Realistically, they should be like $3,000 for what you're getting out of it. I mean, I can take my printer, do a whole bunch of add-ons, a whole bunch of upgrades, a whole bunch of work to it, probably spend about another $500, $700, and then I'll be up to the level of approaching a Prusa. They're just that good, including the magnetic bed. I just upgraded my bed to the magnetic bed. Awesome, awesome, awesome is what I'll say.
There's a show title. Somebody write that down. I just upgraded my bed.
I just upgraded my bed.
All right, guys, we're at 6 episodes. Let's do 2 more. 6 apps. Let's do 2 more each to bring us to a nice round 10. Eric, go.
I've got one more. My tank's almost empty. Yeah, sorry, I messed it up.
You'll just have to come up with 3. I know that'll be hard for you.
It might be hard. So, after you listen to all this depressing news about our data future, you can just install Fraksl by Workspace. It's an art and design app, and you just manipulate the screen with your fingers, and colorful fractals appear depending on how you manipulate your screen. There's tons of different settings. I just like this kind of trippy kind of hallucinogenic kind of thing. I like I'm a graphics guy. I think I said that earlier. This is I used to make the strings of color happen on the Amiga back in the day, and I've never really stopped. So,
all right.
Hey, Eric, this is a classic Eric app. I always remember the apps where you can basically manipulate the screen almost like an old Winamp.
Yeah.
Visualization, except instead of it being controlled by music, it's controlled by your finger.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I saw one of those apps, I thought, oh, there's an Eric app.
Well, you suggested one over last week or so, Animus. And that, honestly, we brought that in episode like 136.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh man, didn't realize.
I think I had the Nexus 10 HD or whatever. The first Google tablet was when I checked that out.
Gotcha. Yeah, this looks like it's definitely very Fraksl inspired, is the way I'll put it.
And Fractals, they'll tax your system. This will make your phone hot because it's these are some major computations, especially when you got a very high pixel density and a lot of pixels on that screen, and there's computations going on to make this stuff. It's not just random lines.
And then, of course, you can run them through Instagram and screw them up. So,
yeah, you can smooth the edges and.
All right, Door. The responsibility is on you to come up with 3 good apps.
Okay, well, this first one I'm bringing just because it's literally a creation tool. It's not just a game. This is called Epic Game Maker. Create and share your levels by Electric Punch Sandbox Games Arcade. Everyone 10 and up does contain ads and in-app purchases. Only 67 reviews. Completely free right now. You get the basic stuff for free is what I'm going to say. But it basically gives you the ability customize a level, create a level using their texture maps and their stuff. It's like a side-scrolling Super Mario side-scrolling type of game layout. You basically can build levels, share codes to levels, kind of thing. And then just play the game, run through the level, kill the enemies, get the coins, get out the other side of the screen. A game maker.
This is a great way to introduce, a kid who thinks he might want to do this. This is a great introduction. Then to actually have his friends be able to play the level that he made. Why hasn't this came out before? I mean, this is a new technology that made this possible now, because it seems like this should have happened a while back.
Called Minecraft.
Yeah. I don't know. I've played Minecraft. I never did it in a way like this, where like a side-scrolling game, though. I don't know.
Yeah, there's been a couple things on Steam I've seen where you can buy where you can do game maker. They're more RPG type game makers. I don't see too many doing side-scrolling action is what I'll say. So I thought that was kind of cool. But yeah, it was definitely Minecrafty attitude wise. I did show it to my oldest son. He thought it was pretty cool. Don't know how far he went into it or how much he played it, but he definitely thought it was cool.
Yeah, I like this. But teaching kids programming with the puzzle pieces, that gives them a good foundation to start, coding, I guess. But if this is what they really want to do, start them on this, and then give them the nuts and bolts behind it later.
Gotcha. And okay, what I'm going to bring next, what I consider to be absolutely horrible game that
A crap app? Nice.
that my one nephew thinks is a fantastic game. Hello Neighbor by Tiny Build, T for Teen, only 720 reviews. I'm kind of shocked. Does have in-app purchases. Completely free to download. 3.7 average reviews. Updated July 31st. 29 megs in size. 10,000 plus installs. Version 1.0. This is a horror terror type game is what it is. The very beginning of the game, you see that you are supposed to have witnessed your neighbor do something malicious. I can't recall if it was anything even specific. So then the rest of the game is you trying to sneak past your neighbor, to sneak into his house, sneak into like his basement, and find the proof against him, I believe. But the game is all buggy, janky, glitchy, crashy, buggy kind of game is the way I'll put it. But my nephew thinks it's fantastic game, best game ever.
The artwork's beautiful. I mean, the way everything's like over exaggerated art. And it's like the car in the background's got these tiny little tires, and it's I love the way it's drawn.
Yeah.
It looks nice.
To me, the concept isn't far from being what I consider to be a good game or entertaining game, an involved type game. But when I saw it being played and when I tried to play a little bit of it was just too buggy. It was like trying to be like Goat Simulator.
Yeah.
But it's hard to replicate that bugginess is the way I'll put it. But yeah, this is going to be popular. Lots of people are going to download it. Maybe not as many as Fortnite, but a lot will.
So that's your prediction? It's going to be Fortnite-ish, kind of. It's going to be a big one. You think
it's going to be popular, but there's no multiplayer battle royale mode, so it's not going to be that big. Is the way I'll put it.
Okay.
But I know some of the kids are gonna love it. The last one I'm gonna bring is a game where this to me is, I don't want to say it's a lie, but it's a little bit misleading. This is Asphalt 9 Legends, 2018's new arcade racing game by Gameloft. E for everyone, 160,000 reviews, completely free to download and play. 4.6 average reviews, updated July 24th, 2018, 49 megs, 1 million plus installs, current version 1.0.1a. This isn't a racing game. I played this. There's no video in the store that I see. This isn't a racing game. This isn't a racing game as in racing. This can be best described as you're the co-pilot in a race. Somebody else is steering the whole time that my son was playing it and I played it. You controlled the power-ups, you controlled when to use turbo, you controlled things like that. But a huge amount of the actual control was done. Like gas was automatic, things like that. So this is a weird game for me to classify. I wouldn't classify it a racing game, even though it's cars in a race.
Self-driving cars app. You know, that's what racing's going to be. This is just getting you ready for that. I mean, driving's not going to be a driving game anymore. It's just, yeah, this is the way. This is the future, man.
I don't know. And there is some kind of multiplayer that's available on it. That's why my oldest son immediately wanted to test it out, play with it. I mean, it was cool. It was fun, but it wasn't really racing. It was like co-piloting.
The graphics were exceptional, I assume.
Gorgeous. Absolutely gorgeous.
Well, Gameloft is, you know, they're not too shabby usually, you know. They've been around for a while.
Oh yeah, I agree.
Do either of you know, is there some sort of prize on the Google Play Store for having the longest name? Is that some sort of competition there?
Wouldn't shock me.
I'm not sure. You got to get as many keywords in there so your search engine optimization for the Play Store works well, and you cover every base for anybody who may want to do something involving a car. Even though the word car is not in that, it's not in that.
I don't know why this cracked me up, but Ivor in the chat room says self-racing cars. That just, those three words cracked me up. All right, so let's review the apps. Dr. Splorchy presents Space Heroes by Squanch Games, Epic Roller Coasters by B4T Games, Wizards 2 Better Dead Than Red by Terrasect Mobile LLC, Battle of Polytopia by Mijuan AB, It's Full of Sparks by Noodlecake Studios Inc., Notes by Firefox, a secure notepad app unreleased by Mozilla, Fraksl works by Workspace, Epic Game Maker Create and Share Your Levels by Electric Punch Sandbox Games, Hello Neighbor by Tiny Build, and Asphalt 9 Legends 2018's apostrophe new arcade racing game by Gameloft Racing. There you go, 10 apps. Some of them are even good.
Well, I like that, Mark. That's funny.
Well, glad I could be amusing. So I just had to renew dramaticreviews.com, the domain name. So that I said I was going to do it and haven't done it. So, but I'm paying for it. I'm literally paying the price for my procrastination.
Right after that table's done, I'm pretty sure you're on that.
That's it. Do the table. Yep. All right.
That I feel that table is just holding you back from a lot of things. You gotta get past that table and then it's just going to be springboarding forward.
Maybe in 2019. All right. Eric, any final words of wisdom not about my table that you'd like to share with the audience?
I want to apologize to the listeners for not being here for a few weeks. But actually kind of get used to it because there's a couple weeks coming up that I'm not going to be here too. So it's just a crazy time of the year. I'm working tons of hours. I got to work Saturday and Sunday this week. It's just nuts. So You know, we're turning this town into a tourist trap, I guess. So we're busy on the weekends right now, and and a lot of nights, and I don't know. There's a lot of things going on. So I'm sorry, but I'm still here when I can be.
So
And in fact, I barely made it tonight. I had to cut down a tree first before the show, and I almost destroyed my truck and a good friend of mine at the same time because the tree was much more rotted than we had anticipated. I barely cut into it, and it was falling on my truck with my friend inside of it. And then all of a sudden, the ignition switch wouldn't work on my truck, and I'm like, "Move the truck, dude! Move the truck!" And he couldn't start the truck. And luckily, it came down all around the truck. It totally missed the truck. I mean, my chainsaw that was stuck in it came down onto the top of the truck and then bounced onto the ground. But all right. Anyway, I'm sorry.
I was just going to say, if you guys want to take away Eric's excuses for not being here, it's really simple. You just become his new employer. If
that would be good.
If between you guys put together, say, $400,000 a year in Patreon pledges, all three of us could quit our jobs and be full-time podcasters. That's not so much to ask, is it?
No, I would actually be a lot cheaper. Each man has his price mark, and mine is pretty low.
Well, one of the things is that the local cost of living has to be taken into consideration.
I've got a story for that after the show about as far as the local cost of living.
Well, and then there's the self-employment taxes. It costs more to not work than you think it does.
Right. I've been self-employed, and I really, honestly, I'm not going to be leaving my job anytime soon. But a good, steady income would make the incentive to make sure I'm here much stronger.
Yeah, if we could stroke you a $8,000 a month check for being here, I think you could see clear to quit the job.
I agree.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure. Yeah,
True.
I'll just say the clock is ticking. I can either be rescued or I am going to escape. It's just going to take 8 years. I've been there 22 years. I'm not opposed to an early signing off.
Yeah, so you may be thinking, that's not possible. There's no way that we could come up with $400,000 in Patreon pledges. Well, try $4. See what that gets you. If all of you, everybody who listens to this show, donated $4 per show, I think we could see some upgrades, some improvements around here. Just saying. That's not so much to ask. Less than the cost of a pizza a month for a podcast you like.
For that much, we could each run for office in our state, probably. I'm just saying.
Think about that. If every one of you who could hear my voice right now pledged, let's be radical. Let's say $4.25 an episode, $5 a month. I mean, my math is completely off my head right now. $1.25 an episode, $5 a month. If everybody listening to this pledged $1.25 an episode, you could change the lives of 3 people.
Which is less than, and that's $1.25 a week, which is less than anything you can actually buy from a store.
Yeah.
Especially if they start to make you pay for that straw. Just saying.
There you go.
Well, yeah, a cup of coffee is still more than $1.25, even at the gas station.
I'm feeling like Sally Struthers. For less than a cup of coffee a day, you could help somebody.
Well, look at Dory shriveling up to nothing there. He needs some food. Feed the children or that child.
I had a doctor's appointment today, Eric. The doctor literally shook my hand and said, "Congratulations." Okay, doc. And he's like, "'Cause you lost weight. You don't need blood pressure meds. You don't need diabetes meds." He's like, "I'll set an appointment up for 6 months from now, but I don't think I need to see you for another year."
Good for you, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm not afraid to use the F word on the podcast. Dory, you used to be fat, and now you are svelte. I'm just saying.
I will say it's a blur. Perspective is everything, and I really didn't realize it until a couple months ago. It's been now 16 months since I've started my eating diet regimen of very little carbs, little bit of protein, a lot of fat. Basically, is the diet that I'm doing. Um, and I have to tell people the gimmick is it isn't that it's a low carb diet. It's cool. It's hip to say low carb diet. It's easier to digest for people who are health conscious when you say high carb, when that you say um, low carb diet. But a lot of people panic when they see how much fat I eat in the day compared to carbs and protein. But the doctor, for one, was like, "Oh no, this is exactly what I expected to happen. This is exactly how I saw your cholesterol going, your weight going, and everything." He said, "I just can't believe you actually stuck with it." I was like, "Well, I like having feet, I like having extremities, and I like being able to see. And I know diabetes is a very slow, painful death. If I'm going to die, I'd like it to be quick. Just saying."
Yeah. 75 to 80% fat a day. The rest of it divided between carbs and protein. And you're on what you call a ketogenic diet. And I think the science is proving that in the near future, everybody is going to be recommending that diet as the healthiest way to live.
I can't wait to see what the food pyramid is going to look like. I was never fat until I started eating school lunches.
It's almost complete 180 of what the current pyramid is. I would say one of my firm beliefs, and this is one of the things I said to my doctor that he agreed with. I don't know how much he actually agreed with it, but he said he did. Was that there is no, to me, one perfect diet everyone on the planet should adhere to right now. It's where you're at in your life. It's what your current health situation's like, what's available to you. And then, I live in a first world society, so I have a lot of luxuries. One of them is I can pick what I eat, when I eat, how I eat, kind of thing. Um, so I'm just lucky, thankful for that kind of thing.
Yeah, there's a little side conversation going on in the chat room about how you eat that much fat. It's actually not easy. You have to make an effort to eat fat at that point. But it's worth it.
Yeah, I mean, certain things help, like eggs. Eggs are easy source of it. Cheeses are a source of it. Bacon.
Do
All
you do
three of them are
avocado?
easy.
Do you eat
Oh,
avocado?
oh yeah. I eat guac. Good guac. Yeah.
Yeah. You got to keep the protein low because your body will process protein preferentially over fat. And then you're not ketogenic. Anyway, didn't mean to go that way, but I hadn't seen you in a couple of weeks and you popped up on camera. It's like, man, Door's looking felt. You look like a new man, literally half the man you used to be.
Well, yeah, I want to say it's 80 something pounds is what I lost. And I would still honestly like to lose a little bit more, 10, 15 more, 20 more. I don't know. We'll have to see. Every day is a new whatever.
Yeah.
Challenge, adventure, Odyssey, Exodus, something.
So patreon.com, $5 a month. See what happens. Great things will happen. I promise. Door, your final words of wisdom for tonight.
You support us on Patreon. The one thing I can promise is I'll play less Stardew Valley.
He didn't say how much less.
Yeah.
All right, everybody. Chat room. It's been great to have you. I love having that live intervention there. Interaction, not intervention. This is intervention. Mark, we need to talk.
That's later.
I like having that live interaction there during the week. You can do that by going to podnutz.com/live. Correct me if I'm wrong, Door.
Yeah, that works.
Round about 9 p.m. Eastern time on Thursday nights. And you can join the chat room and talk with us. We appreciate that. Thank you guys for listening. You are quite literally the reason we do this. I get to hang out with these guys that I truly enjoy because you listen. If you didn't listen, we wouldn't do this. So I owe you a debt of gratitude for that. Thank you for letting me hang out with two of the smartest guys I know. And we'll see you next week because that's it for this episode of Android App Addicts.
All right, chat room.
You gotta see this.
Let's see some show titles.
What is that? Oh, it's a Nintendo.
Is it a Game Boy?
Well, it's called a Odroid Go. It's only $36, but it comes in pieces. You put it together. 8 between 8 and 10 hours of battery life is what I keep hearing. And you download the OS, put it on an SD card, slide it in the back, and then you have retro gaming in your hand. It's only 2 buttons, A, B, and directional pads. So Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, NES, some Sega games, but yeah, so cool. Such good battery life. The Tetris on it works pretty good.
The screen's decent.
It's good enough, is the way I'll put it. It's $36.
Yeah, it's probably similar to the screens I had for my 3D printer and stuff.
Let me record an intro real quick.
Okay, 5:15.
5:15.
What do roller coasters, dinosaurs, wizards, firecrackers, and creepy next door neighbors all have in common? Find out next on Android App Addicts.
I'm so thankful that you remember to do that every episode, Mark. Because I ain't gonna lie, I constantly forget. Oh, jeez.
What'd you do?
Nothing, just my back. Oh. I took off, Mark, I'm sorry. I took off work today because I had a doctor's appointment, Mark. I had a doctor's appointment. Don't be crap, it's a doctor's appointment. I'm taking off tomorrow because I don't care. I'm using a P day. I looked and I still have 48 hours of personal time that you have to use before the end of the year, else you use it. So, you know.
I have at current 5.5 weeks of PTO time built up.
Yeah. Well, a normal vacation, I think I have 7 weeks. That's the stuff that I could carry over from year to year.
You know, I took 3 days off and spent 5 days paying for it.
And that's the thing. That's the real reason I'm taking off tomorrow, Mark. It's not because I'm taking off to take off. It's because I had off today. And I know if I go in tomorrow, I'm going to have to do 2 days worth of work. So I might as well just wait till Monday. Yeah. Because it's going to be bad on Monday because it's bad on every Monday. It might as well be bad. And it gives me a chance to do some housework, catch up on some chores, get ahead of the game for a change, you know. Voluntarily mow the grass without being almost ordered to for 2 weeks straight kind of thing.
I went out of town a couple weeks ago and I couldn't make it to the show. I came back and it was a literal mountain of paperwork. I've never experienced, and I was only gone 2 days, and it was crazy.
And I'll say it doesn't help, Mark, that I'm working with SharePoint.
Nothing helps working with SharePoint. So, show titles.
There's some good ones here.
Yeah, I like Super Cool but Utterly Useless in the End. I like Better Dead Than Instagrammed. That's good.
California 3D printed straws. I like that. I'm sorry. Data movage. Self-racing cars is always good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think we might have to do that one.
This basket.
Eric eats too much aspartame.
I'm pretty sure that's misspelled, but
I like the self-racing cars.
I do like self-racing cars, and I'll say this: I had to literally like bite my lip to not say it. The main difference, Mark, to me, with Stardew Valley versus every other game, including for most of the games on mobile, are the only point of like endless runners is the death. It's the only thing you know that's going to happen when you start playing the game is you're going to die. And that's the whole basis of the game. You're going to die. Stardew Valley, it is literally the complete opposite. You're not going to fail. The only question is how long is it going to take you to succeed? Because even if you die, you don't die. There's no death in the game. So, you know, it's the polar opposite of virtually every game is the way that I keep seeing it.
If it just had some graphics, man, I would totally check that out with you.
there's a video I'll share with you. Then Eric, I'll shoot it to you in Hangouts. It's this guy on YouTube going over 4 games that are coming that are like Stardew Valley.
Oh, okay.
Number 2 and 3 were the ones I liked. One of them is you're a medieval graves keeper, I believe is what it is. That's your business. That's your job. You have bodies come in all day long, and you have to get them ready and bury them. But if you want, you can take the bodies, take some of the meat off, and sell it to the butcher if you need extra money. Or you can take the blood. I can't remember which. You can sell that somehow. You can go down to the mines, like in Stardew Valley, fight things. Some of the things you can get can cause mass poisonings to like kill a third of the people in the town, aka a good thing for business. I'm trying to remember what the other game was, but that was one of the games. You were a medieval. I can't remember what the word they used, but it was like a gravekeeper, funeral guy,
Mortician.
But I'll shoot you the link, and because there was 4 games that are like that same concept as Stardew Valley, but different. I mean, most of them looked different. Yeah. So I do like self-racing cars. I'll say that.
I sent you the message.
Ivor, you guys, you have been generous beyond.
Yeah, no, that wasn't meant for him. We were just anybody to stop. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I lost the train of my thought in the middle, but yeah, but what you give is way beyond what we deserve.
Yeah, when I go broke and fall off the show, Ivor's going to be taking my spot.
Is that a steel straw door?
Yes, it is stainless steel.
Yeah, and those will break your teeth, so then you can go to the dentist.
You do have to be careful. Twice, Eric, in the last week, I've had like the cup sitting there. I've bent over and the straw has hit me on the forehead. But thankfully, it's been at an angle to where it hasn't. Because, yeah, this could hurt, is what I'll say. Yeah, and when I'm driving, once or twice I've been driving and hit a bump. And it is quite the solid straw. But, you know, I got literally like 5 or 6 of them upstairs. I take them every week. I put that in, pipe cleaner it, put it in the dishwasher, switch out straws. Yeah. But I feel so honorary, protective. I don't know about the cup. I don't know how to put it. I'm the guy who wants to go into a restaurant, ask for a drink, then take their drink and pour it in the cup, put the lid on and give them back their cup. You know, like, get this pitiful thing away from me. I have a real cup.
It doesn't even have a snowman on the side of it.
It's a cheap knockoff. This is the Arctic upstairs. I got a backup cup. I'm pulling a Steve Gibson in the sense of I got the cup. I love the cup. I immediately buy a second cup, and it's sitting upstairs until something bad happens to this cup.
It's not in the freezer, is it?
Doesn't need to be, but it could be. It could be.
I picture Steve Gibson in his garage has a deep freeze just for tech.
Oh, yeah. Wouldn't be shocked at all. Wouldn't be shocked at all.
His Palm M500s that he's never going to use, but they're in the freezer.
So I don't have plastic straws in my house already. You know, not by my choosing. I'm probably going to go buy them myself because it doesn't seem like anybody else is going to refill the spot.
Well, we like always have had them in our car, in our glove box. Always have a couple.
Metal or
plastic? Plastic straws. Because too often you go stop at a place, get something, and when you pull off to the drive-through, there's no straws. So
that's a good idea.
Yeah.
My oldest child will not drink without using a straw. We buy packages of like 500 plastic straws just to keep in the house because she has to drink everything she drinks out of a straw. I don't understand where this weird OCD thing came from, but she just won't drink out of a cup or a glass or a bottle. It has to be a straw.
She could have worse OCD things than that.
Yeah.
though.
I mean, there are
yeah,
other, yeah. I mean, she doesn't like eat her own toenails or anything, but it's just weird that everywhere we go, we have to make sure there's a straw because she won't drink without it. Yeah. I have my weird things.
I'll do.
I literally said to my middle child the other day, the only thing wrong with you is that I gave you half your chromosomes. Because I was mad at her for acting like me.
Real quick, Mark, we had 10 apps, correct?
Yes.
And I actually have them in order for a change, the correct order. So that's nice.
All right, guys, I got to go. Unlike some people, I have to work tomorrow.
Me too.
Thank you, Mark. I salute you.
See you next week.
Thank you, Mark.
Don't. Bye, guys.
Right.
Copy. I'm going to hop off here, kill the live stream just so I can publish it.
Thanks, guys.
15. And now I got to do a whole lot of copying and pasting. Post everything. Weekends only, set early access 4 days. Okay, so now I have to kill the live stream. All right, guys. Take it easy. Let me come over here. Stop.